IBM produced the machines used to tattoo Jews during the Holocaust. And so Amazon and Palantir, we're here today to say, stop collaborating with this oppressive government. Stop offering your tech, your web hosting services to allow for the tracking, the arresting, and the deportation of immigrants, because as we know, we're all immigrants.
Hey everybody, I'm your host Elad, and today I'm reporting to you from New York City at the anti-Amazon and Abolish ICE protest. We're heading to Jeff Bezos' apartment. Let's go talk to some people, see what's going on. So we're out here today for an anti-Amazon, Abolish ICE protest. You have a sign over here. It says, Amazon plus ICE equal deportación. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the sign means and why you guys are out here?
Sure. So my name is Julian Robinson. I work with an organization called New Economy Project. We're an economic justice and racial justice nonprofit based in New York City. And we've been involved with the anti-Amazon coalition since the deal was announced in November. And we're still involved because we think Amazon's partnership with ICE through Palantir and their selling of data and hosting of...
You think there should be no ties between ICE and Amazon?
I think ICE should be abolished. And this is my personal opinion, but I think ICE shouldn't exist. It's an incredibly violent government entity that only serves to separate families.
The anti-ICE coalition here in New York's had a lot of success recently. They blocked Amazon from building their headquarters in Long Island City. Do you think that was a good thing that they aren't able to build that and didn't bring those jobs here subsequently?
So I think it's important to note that those jobs would not go to New Yorkers, that those jobs would serve to displace a lot of people who already live in New York City and are facing a tremendous amount of economic hardships. The city is facing a housing crisis and a homelessness crisis.
It was 25,000 jobs, so you don't think like any of those were going to go to New Yorkers?
There were absolutely no commitments from Amazon that those jobs would go to people who already live in New York City. And when our city is facing a homelessness crisis like we already are, and an economic crisis like we already are, it's important that the jobs that do come to New York are for New Yorkers and are for the working class and middle class New Yorkers that need jobs, not $150,000 jobs for people that are coming into the city.
Yeah, and I know we're dealing with a lot of different issues in the city. There are large deficits, there's a homeless problem. Wouldn't tax revenue from Amazon coming help alleviate some of those problems, right? Because they're still going to be accumulating, you think, any tax revenue from all those jobs and being there, right?
There are plenty of better ways to increase economic development in New York City. Yeah. There are plenty of New Yorkers that want to create jobs for other New Yorkers. That economic investment can come from New Yorkers and for New Yorkers. That same tax revenue can be created by locally owned businesses so that wealth is redistributed within New York communities and it is not extracted out to a mega corporation that's based in Seattle.
Yeah. So I know you guys also have the Abolish ICE part of this. Who is the leader that you guys are seeking to really bring all that stuff forward? Do you guys have a politician in mind who's helped bring this to the forefront?
I think you're looking at all the people that are bringing this to the forefront right now. It's all the people that are on the street today, that are all the people who have a lot to risk by, being at protests like this. Those are the leaders that I look to. Some of the immigrants in New York City, the immigrant leaders, the community organizers that are really bringing these issues to the fore and showing up every single day.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I left a pair of kids' shoes here because children at the border, they don't have shoes, they don't have soap, they don't have toothbrushes, they don't have clean water to drink. We're going to keep chanting, we're going to keep making noise while folks deliver the petitions, and then we're going to march over to their corporate office.
So we're out here today in front of Amazon. As I understand, it's an Abolish ICE and an anti-Amazon protest. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're out here today?
First of all, my name is Ibrahim Sangare. I'm an immigrant. I'm a former worker at the Amazon JFK 8 at Staten Island. So I'm coming here to tell to Jeff Bezos, to stop, treating workers as an animal, because the warehouse in Amazon is like a modern plantation, it's a slavery. So they have to stop, using Amazon workers as a slave and stop using Amazon tool for ICE to arrest people, to deport people.
I know there's been a lot of talk about the poor conditions in these Amazon warehouses. As a person who has a first-hand experience, can you tell me some of the worst that you've experienced in these warehouses?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I'm telling you, because standing there for 10, 12 hours, that's not easy. And beside that, you have like a 10, 15-minute break, and it's not a really break. They tell you, okay, you have a 10-minute break. So the time you leave your station to the break room, to the bathroom, it takes you 5 minutes because it's too far. So back and forth,
It's like a couple of football fields long. It's gigantic warehouses.
It's like a 5, 10 football field.
Yeah. And then we have the bottles of yellow substance we had behind us. What was that?
It means that you are not allowed to go to the bathroom, because the time you go to the bathroom, you come back, it takes like a 10 minutes, and then your manager come to you. What are you doing in this space of a 10 minutes? Because you are used to work every 10 seconds, scanning everything, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. So if you're not doing anything in 10 minutes, something's wrong. So you come here, tell you, and then it right happen on you. After 3 times, you get fired.
Yeah. It sounds like an extremely demanding job. How does the pay compare to like other jobs with, that require the similar amount of demand?
I'm telling you, Amazon workers deserve more than 15 or 17.50 per hours.
But is that good pay relative to other jobs you could find?
No, it's not good, because the productivity, the hours, the long hours, we need more than 15.7. We need like a $30 per hours,
Yeah.
Estamos en la lucha. Estamos en la lucha.
So we're out here today in front of one of the Amazon stores in New York City. I know part of the movement's to abolish ICE, and the other one's an anti-Amazon part. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you guys are out here, what you guys are trying to accomplish?
Yeah, sure. So we're out here today. We're trying to draw more attention to Amazon's practices and how their practices aid ICE in detaining immigrants and putting immigrants in cages on our south border. And so Amazon sells much of its data to ICE, which aids them in that process. And so we want to draw more attention to that, and we want to get Amazon to, at the end of the day, to change their practices.
Like ban Microsoft, so they don't want to work. You don't want them to work together in any capacity, Amazon and ICE.
I don't know the particulars of the demands, so I don't want to misstate those. Yeah. But generally, we want to, Amazon, the richest company in the world, Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. We think that there is so much more that they can do to, instead of funding and aiding injustice, that instead they can work to make the situation on the southern border much more just. In addition to them funding, or in addition to them providing data to ICE, they've also been the conditions for a lot of their workers in their distribution centers, in the warehouse centers and distribution centers, is very exploitative. And so it's unconscionable that one of the richest companies and the richest man in the world will allow these horrible practices to happen within his corporation.
Yeah. I know recently the anti-Amazon camp in New York definitely had a lot of success. They were trying to build a second headquarters in Long Island City, something like 25,000 jobs, but a lot of the organizers here managed to prevent that from happening. Do you think that's good? Like, do you guys consider that an accomplishment, that Amazon isn't moving their headquarters here, a lot of new jobs, potential tax revenue?
This is the problem. When Amazon was trying to move into New York, even before they got here, it was already leading to displacement in communities that have for decades been going through displacement. Even before they moved here, people were starting to have to move out of their houses, and the rents were going up. In addition to that, the state was going to give $3 billion in tax breaks to the richest company in the world. That made 0 sense.
Unacceptable, right?
That's unacceptable. And so, and additionally, the public fund should not be assisting a corporation that is exploiting workers and that is exploiting people on the borders. And so these are some of the reasons why we push back against Amazon building their second headquarters here. And the other thing too was, we want to make sure that the jobs created in New York City are for the people that need them the most. It's not a problem if people from outside of New York come to New York City.
Do you think that's what I was going to follow up on? Do you think those jobs are predominantly people for the people in New York or people from the outside of New York?
Many of the jobs that would have been of their quoted $25,000 jobs would not have been for low-income communities of color, people with no high school degree.
Why couldn't the people there get those jobs though?
So a lot of the jobs that would have came to that second headquarters would have required a higher degree of education. And so many people today cannot afford the sky-high cost of undergraduate and further education beyond high school.
Well, I'm a little bit confused because, as I understand, we want to bring more high-paying jobs to these communities, But now, like, we need to increase the level of education. But even if there were just those high-paying jobs, there's still going to be, like, the lower-level janitors, people who prepare food, secretaries. There's still going to be those lower-level jobs. And isn't more jobs what brings the neighborhood up? Like, it'll increase tax revenue. Unemployment should go down. That's why I'm a little bit confused when we're, like, happy that there are less jobs coming here. Wouldn't those jobs help those communities? I don't know why the people in those communities couldn't also learn and develop to be able to fulfill those high-paying jobs. So.
Well, this gets right back to the problem with Amazon is that so many of some of those jobs that more everyday people can access, even without a college education. When you look at Amazon's practices with those workers, a lot of them are very exploitative.
I know they had the bottle of urine or the bottle of yellow substance here to try to symbolize some of that as the workers struggle to find time and they have to urinate in bottles to be able to, meet the demand that the warehouse Amazon people are asking for them. So, like, is that the humanitarian part of it that you're talking about?
That's one of the examples. And there is an ex-Amazon worker that's here today that could probably speak more on what those conditions are like on the day-to-day inside Amazon.
Absolutely. Just to finish up, was there anything else you wanted to mention?
No, that's everything.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. I really appreciate it.
Cuéntenos bien, no somos uno, no somos 100, somos millones, cuéntenos bien.
Hey everybody, thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. If this is your first time here, guys, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you really enjoyed my video, hit up my PayPal, hit up my Patreon, support independent journalism, independent media. Until next time, everybody, stay barely informed.